You know why I'm here. The Vigilants are under attack everywhere.
And now you want to come running to safety with the Dawn Guard. Is that it?
Isra. Karset is dead. The Hall of the Vigilants, everyone. They're all dead.
I tried to warn all of you. I am sorry, you know.
So for a little while now, some of you guys have been asking for a dark fantasy load order, and it got me thinking, what is dark fantasy? Did some research, found some games, and man, I didn't know that half my favorite games were dark fantasy. So I'm like, bet, I got this. I'ma really try to sell that image to you. So I nerded out, threw together some fake lore, and look, never said I was an author, just wanted to paint a picture here. And so within that lore explains the changes I made within the world. So if you listen to the story, you'll understand what you're going to run into. It actually wasn't too hard to write since Skyrim has always felt a bit dark to me, even though the story turns me into the man who saved the world. I mean, when you really think of it, Skyrim is full of moral decay. This load order was designed to bring forth that darkness and bring you something a little bit more hardcore. It was also inspired by From Software games, meaning it's going to be difficult. So the story goes like this. You see, after you defeated Alduin, the World Eater, you set off a catastrophic interdimensional chain of events. You've single-handedly pissed off the worst god imaginable, the God, the chief deity of the Nine Divines, and the central figure of Tamilic religion, Akatosh, the Dragon of Time, and the Sun. You would never expect an Aedra to make a deal with the Daedra due to the pact. This pact, created by Akatosh, generally prevents the Daedric princes from interfering with Mundus, the mortal realm, unless invited. But when you kill the parent's child, there's almost nothing the parent wouldn't do to avenge their child. That's right, if you didn't know, Alduin was the son of God. That's why he alone could devour worlds single-handedly, hence the title World Eater. With Akatosh's first son failed by a mere mortal, Akatosh wanted nothing more but to avenge his son. So he proposed a deal with Namira, the Daedric Prince of Decay, also known as the Lady of Decay. She deals with the darkest of darkest beings. Akatosh promised that he would give Namira the power to rule over all of Skyrim. In return, he wanted her to make the life of the Dragonborn a literal living nightmare, and so she devised the plan. Akatosh decided to offer her a gift, a real show of his true power, one she couldn't refuse. He told her that he would destroy the sun before he sends the Dragonborn back in time before his son's death, and so he did, forever cloaking the world in darker and endless nights. And to make things even worse, the land is also covered in an endless fog that stretches beyond the region. This is where Namira finally gets involved. Putting her plan in motion, Namira called upon her right hand, Mihail, the most powerful and diabolical necromancer that Tamriel has ever known. You see, Mihail isn't just any old necromancer. Not only do they have the power to bring back any dead creature, they can completely manipulate the very structure of any being aside from a god. They can even summon creatures straight from oblivion, as well as anywhere else in the world. And they can tame the most powerful beings that have ever lived with the power of soul-binding magic. Namira gave Mihail the task of summoning, taming, and forging the most heinous beasts and releasing them upon the shadowed lands of Skyrim. Creatures who already inhabited the land, such as vampires, werewolves, and skeletons, are much more fierce, and they're not alone, because Mihail did just that. The land is now filled with multiple new variations of monsters that go bump in the night. And not only that, but Mihail released a bunch of science projects and other beings into Skyrim that you would usually find inhabited in different regions of Tamriel. From goblins and durzogs to undead dragons, Daedric spiders, Daedra, griffins, harpies, minotaurs, new elemental astronauts, elemental golems, swamp skeletons, fairies, and many more monsters have been summoned to Skyrim. When the people of Skyrim witnessed the destruction of the sun, they feared for the worst outcome, and for a good reason. Some of the most wealthiest and most powerful nobles in Skyrim were already planning to escape the dangers of the land due to the ongoing war and the increase of bandits. Because these nobles could afford it, they hired the most brilliant mages at the College of Winterhold to develop a new school of magic that could achieve this goal. You see, the nobles were planning something very nefarious, something that hasn't been done before, but the destruction of the sun thwarted their plans. They had no choice but to head to the sky so that they can escape the eternal darkness. Though the rest of the world doesn't know about this new school of magic yet, those amongst this powerful group have taken to naming it gravity magic. The nobles managed to use gravity magic to build flying ships, and they've created the floating islands above the lands in order to rule in safety and from above. This new reality doesn't sit well with the other divines. They thought it was extremely unfair to have you, the Dragonborn, at such a disadvantage. Even though Akatosh is chief deity of the divines, he's not the supreme ruler. Since the divines are aware of Akatosh's selfishly vengeful plan, to show their disapproval through action, they planned on powering up the Dragonborn just enough to survive. They couldn't make you any more powerful out of fear of truly betraying Akatosh. They also decided it was best to keep Akatosh's plan a secret from you. If it were ever to get out that Akatosh was working with the Daedra, the whole world would flip on top of his head. They only told the Dragonborn that they were the chosen one. Chosen for what? The Dragonborn asks. They replied, "You will know very soon." So the divines gathered their strength together and transported you out of Mundus, the realm of the mortals, bringing you to Aetherius, the realm of the divine. Here you receive a small portion of the divine's power. As dead gods, they've already given up too much power just to simultaneously exist in Aetherius and the mortal realm they've created. After receiving the blessings, you now have the ability to sustain magic. This means conjuring, mage armor, anything else that only lasts for a few moments, to instead borrow from your entire pool of magic and using that to make spells last forever by constantly streaming it from your overall magic pool until you choose to dispel it. You also receive extensive combat knowledge from the god Stendar and the strongest warriors who have ever worshipped him. With this new knowledge, you can whip up special combos with every weapon. Simply mix up your light and heavy attacks in succession. An example would be light heavy, light light heavy, light light light, or even heavy heavy. Not only that, but you also gain more moves to use at your disposal. If you move forward and sheathe your weapon, you'll do a jump attack. If you press the button twice, you'll do an alternate jump attack. Speaking of jump attacks, you can jump and attack while in midair. And an even better bonus, you can jump off of something and slam your opponent on the head, Monster Hunter style. Just jump and use a heavy attack. There's still more you can do. You can cancel or feint an attack by blocking immediately after executing an attack. This allows you to block an enemy's attack if you mistimed your strike. This leads into the next skill, and that's being able to dodge. Now you can dodge out of attacks, and you can also feint into a dodge by canceling an attack with a block and immediately following that up with a dodge. Your user interface has received a much needed upgrade. You now have control, which gives you the ability to quick access up to 8 slots versus the previous 2. You can also quick access the menus, quick save, and even auto run. You can now navigate your inventory and the other menus more effectively through the eyes of a god thanks to Sky UI. They've also given you the most customizable heads-up display ever, which shows you more information about yourself and the world around you. Be sure to use the book labeled SWF to customize it. To improve upon your appraisal skills, they also provided you with enemy health indicators, which shows your enemy's health, levels, and the amount of damage you do to them. And finally, they decided that you must use newer skills to make their blessings more effective, so they gave you Ordinator to make you even more capable. The Divines have also blessed you with tons of new elements to the world, giving your journey a more unique approach. Once you received your blessing from the Divines, you were transported back to Mundus just before Akatosh enacted his plan. Before you knew it, you were randomly transported back in time to where it all began. You know you defeated Alduin, and now you suddenly see him flying over your head once more. This immediately gives you the sense of deja vu, and now you know something is wrong with the world. You immediately notice that everything around you is smothered in thick fog and darkness, and this is where your journey begins. Now that you arrived in this god-forsaken land, there's a few things you need to know. With the outside world covered in darkness, you must light the way. Torches are far more important this time around, so be sure to keep one handy. The moonlight may light up your path in the wilderness, but dungeons are a different problem. ELFX Shadows Hardcore wipes out most of the light sources in areas uninhabited by humanity. Remember, monsters love the dark. While a torch may be handy, holding it out all day is tiresome for your arms, and that goes for many other actions. Consider using lanterns instead. Lanterns are typically useless in Skyrim, but if you find yourself a lantern, usually amongst the clutter in dungeons, and a leather strip or two, you can attach it to your hip and light up the darkness hands-free. To enhance the eeriness of the world, I've applied a myriad of sound modifications that immerse your experience and stir up fear in your heart. But who said you had to face all these dangers alone? There's a crap ton of monsters everywhere you go nowadays, so why not grab yourself a friend or two to help you find your path to salvation? With things the way they are, the people of Skyrim had to make many adjustments to gear and combat in order to survive in this new world, starting with magic. There was only a few mages at the college who knew about the Gravity Magic Project. Since proving itself useful to the nobles, those few mages were granted permission to live amongst those in the sky. The other scholars decided to revamp magic altogether. Modern-day spells are now more effective and balanced. Additionally, each school of magic now has a new spell added to them, and can be found amongst vendors and from loot. The Archmage himself said that while these schools may be useful, they are simply not enough. So over the years, the Archmage managed to create 4 new schools of magic and spread them amongst the world. Abyssal Tide Magic, which ended up stolen by Hermaeus Mora, and is now only found in the realm of Apocrypha. Ancient Blood Magic. The Dawnguard discovered this class after sampling fragments from the undefeated Knight Matron, who's still lurking around somewhere, and from tussling with one of Mihail's science projects, the Lord of Doom. These are sacred arts created by 2 ancient vampire clans and can be found amongst the undead. The most powerful versions of this magic is being held by the Knight Matron and the Lord of Doom, located at the Valkahar Castle courtyard and somewhere in the Soul Cairn. Astral Magic. Only those gifted by Aetherius possesses this magic. Feralda at the college can sell you a tome of her knowledge. Warlock bosses around the world may also hide their knowledge in their boss chests. The last school of magic is Wizarding Traversal Magic, which simply makes traversing the world much easier. Only those who practice the way of the voice are able to use this type of magic by speaking from their magic source instead of their diaphragm. Only higher level enemies will know this knowledge, so wait until you're at least level 18. Now, as far as gear and consumables, alchemists and chefs had it pretty rough. Without the sun, they can't grow or find ingredients as they usually would. They had to find other ways to do so, and now potions and stuff are only effective over time. No more instant recovery. And you'll also notice a difference in the effects of food and potions. NPCs will also use them more often as well. As for blacksmiths and enchanters, they've had a much better time. Together, they developed a variety of equipment effects that help you and your party survive this dark apocalypse, and they can be discovered all over the world. No more of the same enchantments. And now you've learned all that needs to be learned. It's about time for you to experience the world for yourself. How will you traverse through this darkness? Alright, so when you first set up the game, you're going to have to set up your graphics as well. So first select your character, do whatever you want to do. Once you select your character, as soon as you spawn in, this will be the first notification. Just hit yes. As soon as you pull out your weapons, another one will come out. Hit yes. Next thing, we're going to go to items. I'm going to scroll all the way over to books. The first thing we're going to do is toggle eye adaptation. You want to make sure in the top left it says enabled. After that, we're going to go to skeevers. We're going to hit default this time. Once you hit default, we're going to go to display, hit no. Everything is already turned on except for the snow. So we're going to go ahead and add 2 to the snow. Depth of field is going to be up to you since you won't be able to see too far. But if you want to enhance things, let's change that to 60 or 80 strength, doesn't matter. I like to do center at 60 to 80, but we're going to do 60 this time. Next thing you're going to want to do is go to interiors. You want to turn this on. Then you're going to go to contrast. With contrast, we're going to take out 3. So we're going to do -2, -1. Ignore the way it's going to look the first time around. Alright, so we're going to go to saturation. Saturation, we're going to go ahead and take out 5. And then we're going to back out. Once that is done, just hit sync all the way to the right. And we are good in skeevers. Now, it's going to look pretty dried out. Like I said, ignore this. The next thing we're going to do is going to fix this. So, let's open our menu. Let's go to magic. And we are going to go all the way to the power section, which is all the way to the right. Let me just favorite a few things really quickly. You could favorite these as well. It's up to you. So the first thing we're going to do is go to SWF. We're going to go to graphic options. We're going to hit general. Here we're going to start with the contrast. We're going to bump the contrast up to 30. This is for outside. We just did the interior, so we canceled it out by taking 3 out. It's 10 points per point, I guess, on there. So once you hit 30, we're going to go back out and we're going to go to saturation. Saturation, we're going to have to take this all the way up to 80. So once we're at 80, everything is done in this section. Personally, if you don't like the blue filter, just go to the RGB. Go ahead and hit red, and we're going to add up to 7 to 9 red. I'm going to do 7. This will make it so that everything outside isn't going to be blue. This should balance out the colors. So back out, go to sky, hit sunlight, and for sunlight, we're going to go all the way to 100. We're maxing this one out. Oops. Okay, so we maxed everything out. We're going to go to sky scale and hit 1. That's enough to see everything. So once we back out all the way to the main menu, we're going to go ahead and go to any settings. We're going to do general. We're going to go ahead and disable this so we can see favorite weapons on our back. We're going to go to grass next. And starting with IMIN grass size, if you're on next gen Xbox Series 1, oh my god, that was horrible, Series 1, boost this all the way up to 90 if you're on the Series X. If you're on the Series S, you might need to bump this up a little bit higher, maybe 110. But we're going to do 90 for the Series X. We can ignore this setting since we already have any settings in the game that are changing this. We're going to do eye grass cell radius. We're going to hit +1. We're going to hit -1, -1. Now we're going to have 2 selected. So we back out. This is all we need to do inside of this menu. The thing we're going to do is go back to our magic. We're going to go to rustic weathers preset. And it's up to you. We can do filmic or you can do fantasy. You can play with these when you get outside, but I like fantasy because it doesn't brighten it too much, but it does add that slight brightness to the light as well. So we're going to do that. If you noticed, everything kind of did just change up a little bit in here. Next, we're going to go ahead and open up our magic menu. We're going to go back to our powers and we're going to do debug menu. Once you go to debug menu, we're going to go straight to edit. We're going to go to game, we're going to go to time, and we're going to go to time scale. Yes, we know what we're doing. we're gonna hit 1. This means, I do believe that means it's going to be 1-to-1. So every in-game, no, every IRL minute is going to be an in-game minute as well. The point of doing this is to balance out some of the changes that could affect your load order. Sometimes when you enter a dungeon for too long and you're just in there, you'll come back outside and everything is extremely bright, like your daytimes are activated again. We're pretty much done with the setup. The next thing you're going to do here is we're going to go to our powers. We're going to go to the dodge mod configuration. First thing, we're going to go to general settings. We're going to do sneak style. And we're going to do sneak style 2. Next thing we're going to do is player settings. Dodge penalty. Dodge speed penalty. We're going to change that to armor dependent. Enter it again. We're going to go back to the player settings and we're going to go to speed dependent ratio. We're going to take this all the way up to 40. It does say 0, but all you have to do is add 5% because we didn't touch it and default is 0.35. So we want it at 0.4. Easy. So when you back out, you'll see it on the top left that it says 0.4. Go back into it. NPC settings. You're going to do NPC dodge frequency to not frequent. They'll still dodge, but it's not going to be like that much at all. And what else do we need to do here? I guess these settings here, dodge and sidestepping, is going to be up to you. Whether you want it to take stamina, how much stamina you want it to take, all of that other stuff, iframes, that's personal. So that's it for this. Okay, here's the absolute last part of the setup. You actually can't see it in the menu here, but when you download it, you'll also have an option for Wildcat. Make sure that on Wildcat, everything that uses stamina is set to 0. The reason why this mod disappeared off my list is because my load order shuffled, and I didn't know that some of the mods will still be broken even if you put them back in the same slot. Any mod that is broken would have to be reinstalled, so if you didn't know that, now you know. Lastly will be a couple of errors, starting with what we're looking at here. This is what's known as a clear day. Clear days look just like this. They're entirely too dark. You won't be able to see anything and they're like extremely ugly. So the best way to fix it is to go to your powers and you want to go straight down to change weather. You want to go to vivid weathers, change weather. Once you do that, you select foggy, you go back to your powers and then go below it and do vivid weather's time of day, and you just switch it to whatever time of day you want it to be, and bam, here's all the fog. So you'll have to periodically do this, but it's not so often, so nothing too bad. The next glitch is something that it's hard to replicate, but it will happen to you at some point, and that's whenever you stay in a dungeon for too long, and once you finally leave, the night and day cycle is returned to normal. So you could leave and it'll be daytime, and with the current settings, it's going to be extremely bright. So the way to fix that is simply by hard resetting your game. So lastly, we'll go to our alterations and we'll hit cheat teleport. Whenever you boot your game up from start, so I mean like you have to hit continue and all that stuff just to get into your game, whenever that happens, your grass innies will be reset. So the way to reset them is just to go to the cheat room and then just simply come back. When you come back, you'll notice that you have slightly less grass, and this will end up boosting your performance back to normal. So just keep in mind, yeah, you're going to end up having to do that every now and then. These are the only issues that I've come across. If you run into any more issues, let me know, and I'll see if I can help you find out how to fix it. As far as crashing, anytime that you crash, it's really just the game trying to get used to everything being installed. Every time I've crashed, I revisited the areas, haven't crashed since, and the more crashes I have, the less often in between they'll happen. So you should be good on that regard. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the load order, and thank you for watching the video. I'll see you guys soon.